In this module, we will discuss the signal transduction, how the cell receives the signal and makes it to action for carrying out the certain activities. So, the process in which the information which is carried out by extracellular messenger molecules to the other cell areas is translated into the changes that occur inside the cell, and this is referred to as the signal transduction. Transduction means virtually how the signal is carried out from one place to another. And the components which are used for the cell transduction, they are enzymes which are regulated by covalent attachment of phosphate in ester linkage to the side chain hydroxyl group of a particular amino acid, and residues which are in serine, threonine, or tyrosine amino acids, because the amino acid is composed of two parts. One is the side chain, and another important side is the hydroxyl group, which we can see that in the serine, the hydroxyl group is there, and then amino is on the other side, and then there is a side chain, and these are the groups which control the transduction. Now, protein kinase, there are two types of proteins which are used there. One is protein kinase, which transfer the terminal phosphate of ATP to a hydroxyl group of a protein. And another one is a protein phosphatase, which catalyzes the removal of phosphorus, inorganic phosphate, by the hydrolysis, which is shown in this cartoon, that on the upper there is a protein kinase, that it's a protein, hydroxyl, and adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, energy. It goes to protein and transfer the phosphate group plus ADP. Whereas on the bottom, there is a protein phosphatase, and again, we can see that the inorganic phosphate is released from that, and the signal is transduced to this. Now, there are many key players in the signal transduction. And in the signal, key players mean that very important components for the signal transduction. They are signaling molecules like receptors, that is the part which receives the signal. The second is the signal transduction protein, as we said, that these are the proteins which receive the signal and translates them. And then the second messenger signaling, and last is the effective protein, that the proteins which are affected to carry out these changes. Just like this, you can see that there is a signaling cell on the top, and it sends the signals, the molecules are there, and it goes to an entire small components there, go to the active small molecules, goes inside the cell, then there is ATP and ADP, and it goes to the effective protein, which is the yellow molecule. It can either modify the action of the cell, or it can go to the nucleus of the cell and can further carry out the other function which are required by this signal. There is an enormous number of signal molecules and receptor in the cell. Now, the cell doesn't have these 1 or 2 or 3, but innumerable numbers of signal molecules are present, which are in the cell and responsible for signal transduction. In contrast, there are relatively few types of intracellular signal transduction system. So it means that the signal molecules which are extracellular, they are increased number, they are large in number, whereas the intracellular signal transduction system, that is limited to the few number of molecules, and they make the cell capable to do the signal transduction.